There's a story developing in Washington right now that looks on the surface like a technical dispute over shipping costs. According to reporting from Politico's E&E News, energy companies have been raising concerns with the White House about new toll-style charges and rising costs in key global shipping routes, including strategic choke points like the Strait of Hormuz. But what makes this different is not the fee itself, it's what it exposes about how fragile the system becomes when energy costs move. At the same time, the Trump administration is framing the situation as effectively resolved, that the conflict with Iran has been managed, the war is won in practical terms, and that energy flows are returning to normal. That creates an immediate tension because in energy markets, normal is not defined politically, it is defined by price stability. And right now, the industry is signaling that the cost structure underneath global oil flows has changed, even if the politics say otherwise. Higher shipping costs, higher insurance premiums, higher risk pricing through key maritime choke points. Individually, these are normal market adjustments, but energy companies are not treating them as neutral volatility. They are treating them as a structural warning because energy is not just another commodity in the global system. It is the foundational layer. Everything else, manufacturing, transport, food prices, financial stability sits on top of it. And that is where the real vulnerability appears. The modern global economy is not just a trade system, it is a leveraged credit system. Banks expand credit, governments issue debt, companies fund long-term investment through borrowing, households rely on credit to maintain consumption under rising costs. And over time, that structure has created a highly financialized economy where growth depends on continuous credit expansion, which also means something uncomfortable. The system has less and less capacity to absorb sharp input cost shocks. So when energy prices move, even moderately, the effects don't stay contained, they propagate. Higher transport costs feed into higher oil prices. Higher oil prices feed inflation. Inflation feeds directly into household budgets that are already constrained by debt. And that feeds back into corporate margins, financing conditions, and government policy pressure. So instead of absorbing shocks like a buffer, the system transmits them like a network. That is why energy companies are reacting early, not because the system is collapsing, but because energy sits at the most sensitive point in the entire structure. And in that context, the real issue is not volatility. Volatility is normal. Markets eventually find equilibrium. The issue is leverage layered on top of volatility in a system where too many actors are already financially stretched. Which is why a seemingly narrow shipping dispute reported by Politico is getting attention at the highest levels, because it's not just about logistics. It is about how quickly energy shocks moves through a highly financialized global economy and how little room there is left to absorb them before they become macroeconomic stress. And that leaves the central question, not whether prices eventually stabilize, but whether the global system can tolerate the path between here and that equilibrium without breaking the things it depends on.